minute, or the difference between the U.S. and Germany. Germany leads the United States, leads the world in solar. 5% of all production in Germany is from solar right now. Another 5% is from, or more, close to 10% is from wind of all of their energy use. The answer, I think, to my own question is it's policy, it's regulation, it's industry structure, and it's incentives that we provide for this. It's not physics. It's not chemistry. It's not even the electrical grid. It's what we decide we want.
If you ask the question, what's the distinction between Germany and the United States, or between Mississippi and New Jersey on this? It's policy. It's not resources. It's decisions by legislatures and public utilities commissions and the buy-in of the utilities that makes these policy changes happen.
And regulation itself can be a very bulky and judicial process. Not exactly the atmosphere you want if you're going to make over the utility industry, which is what the challenge is. You have institutionally different actors with the REAs who, for a lot of reasons, are dedicated to a course which is not, I think, in the long run consistent with what clean energy requirements need to be. I'm all for letting them determine their fate so long as they are actually pulling in the same direction as state policy. You can't have a state policy for 60% of the state. It's not a state policy if that's your read.
Conclusion really is that few of us have any business trying to decide what utilities should look like as entities themselves. What we should focus on instead is the regulatory regime in which they're acting and let them figure out what the adaptations need to be. One of the favorite things I've read lately, and I would commend this to everybody here, is a pretty groundbreaking study by the National Renewable Energy Laboratory. They just issued a report in late 2012 that shows, I think credibly, that U.S. energy supply by 2050, 80% of it could be provided by wind, solar, biomass, and other renewable technologies.
What would we have to do with this fuel mix to get to 80% renewables? Well, this is what NREL postulates. Nuclear fuel, which is a baseload technology, of course, tapers off. There's no assumption of new nuclear builds. I don't believe in the NREL model. And you'll see that the amount of natural gas, that's the blue in this, the amount of coal and natural gas, that's the dark blue and the light blue, shrinks to probably only about 15% of today's levels. The last thing I'm going to show is I have a paper that I wrote recently that talks about some of these things you might be interested in. I would commend it to you. It's a free paper on electricitypolicy.com.
I think natural gas in the long run is going to have to deal with its own carbon impact before it's a feature of the long-term capacity needs of the country.
Natural gas is a good example. It's been called for many years a transition fuel. The industry's sort of jettisoned that label lately. It seems to be a permanent fuel. On a carbon basis, you hit the wall in 2035 or so with gas. I mean, you do. Without CCS, without carbon capture and storage, I think that's a dead end, a relative dead end. It won't dead end until 2035 or so, but that's when we're going to have to do better on carbon than even natural gas will allow us to do. The green sector there, the power plants, is 1/3, 34% of all U.S. carbon emissions. There's only a few thousand plants that do that. So you can actually get to them. You can find them, you can put them on a list, and you can actually treat them. It's sort of an output-based focus. Here, we're focused on how much are we paying for what we get. And all of this focus of utility commissions on the costs of that misses the big picture.
So it's just at another level. I'll be doing something similar to what I did in Colorado as the chairman of the